I hope everybody's doing all right this evening. Thanks for joining us. We'd like to go ahead and just introduce ourselves to you. Some of you may know us, some of you may not. I'm Jason Webster. I'm the president. I'd be glad to help you guys with anything I can. I've been raising St. Croix for going on about 14 years now. And then we've got Lori, our vice president. Lori, would you like to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Hi, it's nice to speak with everybody. We live out here on the California-Oregon border on a high altitude desert environment there. We have 48 breeding ewes, and we've been raising St. Croix sheep since 2015. What I appreciate most about them is their feed efficiency, their feed flexibility. And we breed our sheep in small groups year round. So every 2.5 months, we have lambs being born. We find them easy to handle, self-sufficient, healthy and hardy. And I find myself saying to folks who are interested, to buyers, that I really like raising these sheep. So that's our story here.
Thank you, Lori. And then we've got Crystal. She's our treasurer.
Hey everybody, Crystal Criswell. I live in Southern Ohio, outside of Huntington, West Virginia. I have about 35 ewes right now. I started raising sheep in 2018 with 3 bred ewes, and then I just slowly grew from there. Absolutely love my sheep. I am also one of the, if not the only, member of the National Sheep Improvement Program, which if anyone is interested in hearing more about that, please give me a shout and I will happily tell you all about it.
All right, thank you. And I don't believe Beth was able to join us tonight, but Lori, did you have a little bit of information on Beth, our secretary?
Sure, that's basically it. Beth is the secretary. Beth, are you there? Well, anyway, Beth and her husband have been a member since 2005, and they operate Creek Ridge Farms in Alton, Virginia. And from what I understand, they have cows, cattle, and they run their sheep after the cows, so that forms a, kind of a secondary market for them.
All right. Then we have Elizabeth.
Hello. I am in Southern West Virginia, and we have been raising sheep for 2 years now, I think. And we started with 4 ewes and a ram, and we're currently at 9 ewes and expanding quickly.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Tamara.
I don't know if Tamara can talk. She was having trouble with her sound. So
right.
I could tell you Tamara lives just outside of the Lexington, Kentucky area. I cannot remember the name of her farm. Darn it. Aldenwood Farm. And I know she's got a good number of registered sheep and has been in the organization for quite a while. I'm not sure when she joined, but quite a long while.
It looks like she was trying to get it working. I see her picture on my screen, but I don't think she was able to get the mic to work.
Yeah, she's having a lot of trouble.
Well, folks, we're your board of directors. We're here to serve you guys and further the club. Crystal, do you have a financial report for us?
You're going out of order. Sorry.
Not according to mine.
I changed things around to make it make more sense with the videos and stuff. Sorry.
I gotcha.
So there you go.
So we have a flock that's growing. There you can see the increase in sheep over the last couple of years there, and we hope that that will continue as we move along. Jason, did you have anything to add for that?
Don't believe so.
Okay, and the next slide. So we've also had a growth of membership, which is especially encouraging because it's people who make the flock flourish. That's just a bottom line there. And you can see kind of a dramatic growth in 2023. So we're very, very happy with that. There we go. Now we're ready for the financial
Now
report.
it's my turn. Okay, so our main or only stream of income are memberships, registrations, and transfers. And I'm reporting from October 1st of 2022 through September 30th of this year, so that it would be a full year's worth of reporting. And during that time, we earned over $14,000 in those memberships, registrations, and transfers. Our primary expenses are our programs, which is the biggie. That's the $11,000 one there. And that is paying our registrar fees, paying for our annual meetings and our genetics project. And then the second big expense comes with just regular administrative type things. You know, we have to have a lawyer, we have to have a website and insurance and that kind of good stuff. So that's almost $4,000 of expenses. We started the year in October of last year with just over $15,000, and as of the end of September we had just over $14,000. As you all know, we had to do several things this year, and those things cost a little bit of money, so we had to spend a little bit more than we normally would. So yes, it looks like we lost money, but it's okay. We're doing great. And I think if we continue to grow, we'll be right back to that awesome balance that we had before. So, all right.
There we go. I do just want to say it was a very big year for us, and there are quite a few one-time expenses that were covered in this fiscal year as we updated the website and we moved to a new registry, expenses that we don't expect to repeat year after year. So for the genetics project, this was a project that we first started talking about early in 2020. So it represents 3 years of effort. We've collected DNA samples from 15 volunteer members, and I'd like to thank all 15 of them, because that's, you know, that's the foundation, is getting the samples from our registered sheep. 92 samples were submitted. We have partnered with Dr. Brenda Murdoch, who is a PhD in animal science. She's an associate professor at the University of Idaho in Moscow, and she has been doing the testing and kind of guiding us through this there. So they were submitted to her. She performed 2 genetic testing systems on them. One is a low density flock 54 test, and the other one is a medium density or a 60,000 SNP test. That stands for single nucleotide polymorphism, which you don't need to know, but it just tells you it's not, you know, we're not making this up here. And the basic results that we found were that St. Croix sheep do in fact cluster as a distinct breed from any other sheep breed. And that is something that was not known previously. So now that we have the very early results, I'm sorry, we can look at this slide that shows you how the breeds cluster there. Each dot represents an individual animal in something called a principal component analysis. And this is all genetics and statistics that go far beyond my ability to understand. But it does show that whether you're using the low density or the medium density, the breed does cluster distinct and separate from any other breed, which is good news for us. Now, what happens with this information and the data is something that we are just starting to think about now. A member-based genetics committee has been established. We haven't quite met yet. We'll be looking at to this committee to review the data and to make some recommendations about how it might be used for the benefit of the breed. We have a webinar scheduled for the committee for February, and that's when we'll be starting. Dr. Philip Spanenberg, some of you may know that name. He is a doctor of veterinary medicine and also a PhD in veterinary medicine there. His specialty is the genetics of domestic animals and species conservation. So he will be our advisor and help us stay on the right track of using this data. And we expect that this will be a very careful, very deliberative process, and there'll be a great deal of discussion and looking at ideas rather than something that happens very quickly. So if you're looking for immediate actions, you won't see them. If anyone is particularly interested in the genetics project, please let me hear from you. The committee is pretty much established, but we're always interested in input, so that, you know, if you have something to say about it, or if you have questions, as I said, please do email me or call me, and we'll try and figure out answers for you, or, you know, take your input with all seriousness. So that's it, Jason. We can move on for our next one.
Yeah, I think the new one, the next one is going to be Crystal talking about the rebranding logo on the website.
Okay, so as I'm sure everyone's noticed, if you've surfed to our new website, it sure looks a lot different than it used to. Our old website served its purpose. It was a beautiful website when it was created, but times have changed. Over about half, or even more than half, of all people who surf the web now are doing so on their mobile phones. And our old website just didn't cut the mustard when it came to being used in that fashion. So we started off with a new logo. And we did this for several reasons. One, as you all know, our old logo looked a whole lot like the logo used by the international group, and we really wanted to create something that set us apart so that there would be less confusion between the two groups. We couldn't get a hold of a high quality image of our old logo. And when we started looking at it, it was going to cost just as much to get that created as it would to have a new logo. So we opted, that's a second reason to get a new logo. We wanted our new logo to really be reflective of the American heritage of our breed. So that's why we picked those colors. And we also wanted, while we all love our rams and they're very distinctive, we wanted to make sure that we included our U, as our U's are, in my opinion, they really are the rock stars of our breed. So we wanted to have them included. So, okay, now our new website, as I mentioned, we needed something that would be more navigable using a mobile device. So this website, that's kind of the main purpose of how it's designed, is that it's very easy to use on your mobile device. Our old website had really gotten outdated. There were a lot of plugins and widgets and all kinds of stuff behind the scene that hadn't been updated, and some of them could not be updated. So that put our site at risk of kind of being ignored and flagged by search engines, and also as a possible security risk. Then we also wanted to make sure that we keep the website fresh. So we have a way that we can keep posting more information on there and keep information up there that is new and interesting to folks. And finally, this one was a biggie for us. We wanted our prospective members to be able to join at the click of a button, instead of having to remember to print out that application and write a check and mail it in. And while they can still do it that way if they prefer, they can now join instantaneously. So, and then finally, with a new website, new logo and all that stuff, we had to have new forms. So we updated all of our forms. All of those can be found on our website, and they match all the processes that take place within Grassroots, because There are a few things that are just a little different, and as you start using the systems, you'll discover those things. So, okay.
And now we'll go back to Lori for the registry change.
Yes, indeed. George and Lynn Morgan are the folks who operated GLM registries where they have been our registrars for several years now, are retiring at the end of this year. We conducted a very wide search looking for the registry solutions that other groups had found. I even looked at other breeds, and we reduced it to 3 good options, and we very carefully considered all of them and ended up selecting the Livestock Conservancy's administration and the Grassroots software for our registry there. Our reasons were that Grassroots is a very powerful software system. It can be used in many ways to help manage your flock there and to track a lot of your animals. We also felt that the software and the system and the operator had a great deal of reliability, and there's the potential for a very long-lived association there. Our registry data is not only our biggest asset, it's really our only asset, and moving it was a huge project, and it's not one that we would like to repeat frequently if it's at all possible not to do that. Safeguarding that data is one of the primary functions of the association. So as we went through, we had to close up the GLM data and make sure that as it was imported into Grassroots, the right data went into the right fields. And then the data had to be imported into Grassroots. Once it was there in the system, it was beta tested by several of the directors, and then it was open to the members there. And we are still working out some of the little hiccups, finalizing processes, making sure everything is accurate. There's about 1,001 details that really have to be right for a registry to work. Our new registrar is Jaye Ray, and we reach her through the Livestock Conservancy. We'll have contact information for you if anyone is short of that, but all members should have received a packet of information with instructions, the new forms, and the contact information now. The software Grassroots was developed in England. So when you go to that site and you notice it's a .co.uk, that's because it is in fact located in the UK. And you'll notice some words that aren't quite familiar, but everything does work the way it does for us. So there aren't any problems with that. All members do now have access. It's been a relatively smooth transition in terms of the data. There are still some hiccups, a few bumps in the road, but please be assured that your data is safe within that system. If something doesn't appear there, it can be found, it can be fixed if there's any kind of a problem there. And we ask for your patience. 1,001 details takes a long time to get right. GLM grew with our organization, so that this is a very new thing for us to have to move to a new registry. We are very happy to be starting what we hope is a long and fruitful association with both the Livestock Conservancy and Grassroots. So that's all we've got on the history of how we selected Grassroots. And I think the function of this meeting is to help everyone get used to be introduced to Grassroots. So.
Well, and now we go to me for the future plans. So you've got a list of them, don't you, Crystal? There we go. So basically, we still have some bugs to tweak and polish on the registry process, just figuring a few things out with that. We're going to continue on the genetics project. There's a lot to do with that and a lot of different directions we can go, and we're figuring out the best ways to go with it. We're gonna look into doing some merchandise with our logos, some hats, some shirts, maybe some sweatshirts, all kinds of different stuff like that. We're going to have some different types of stuff on the website. The content on the website is still being discussed, and some features may not be active. Some may be active later. Some may disappear. Some new ones may show up. Just know that it's a constant progress. And really about the universities. So we've been talking with a few different universities like Utah State and Virginia State, and we've got some possible relationships starting with them to do some more projects on St. Croix with keeping track of the history and the lineage and the genealogy on them. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the future. Crystal, I believe we've got a video you're going to play from Libby Henson that's going to introduce us to the Grassroots.
Yes.
Take it away.
Well, Lori already covered this. We can jump right through here. So this video is going to be of Libby, and it's important to know that there's another person that's a co-founder of Grassroots, and that is Margaret Hargreaves. We don't have a video of her, but she's also there working behind the scenes with the data. So.
Hello, my name's Libby Henson, and I'm the co-director of Grassroots Systems Limited. I'm a farmer's daughter and grew up with rare breeds in the Cotswold Hills of England. My dad, Joe Henson, was the founder chairman of the Rare Breed Survival Trust in the UK about 50 years ago, and I was the first chief executive of the Livestock Conservancy in the US back in the early 1980s. I've run a number of breed societies over the years and worked with the UN on sustainable agricultural projects all over the world. In fact, I've spent a lifetime working in pedigree livestock breeding and pedigree record keeping. 25 years ago, my business partner, Margaret Hargreaves, and I set up Grassroots Systems Limited as a mechanism for helping as many breeds as possible to manage their membership and pedigree data. The concept is that the guts of what all pedigree breed registries do is the same. We all have people with names, addresses, and contact information, and animals with dates of birth, ID numbers, names, and parents. And then, of course, there are the extra bells and whistles linked to phenotypic characteristics, DNA, performance recording, show results, and so on. Today, we work with over 140 pedigree breeds of sheep, cattle, pigs, goats, horses, donkeys, and alpacas. The majority
Yeah, I lost my video.
on an agency basis ourselves, and therefore work with the system on a daily basis. In the US, the Livestock Conservancy has set up an agency to manage the registry for a number of breeds, all using the Grassroots system. So we at Grassroots are in the background, constantly developing and enhancing the software systems and acting as support and advice for your registrar. You will be dealing direct with the software and with Jaye, who is now very familiar with how the Grassroots systems work and how flexible and powerful it can be. We do hope you enjoy using the Grassroots system and find it really useful for your breed. Thank you.
And now I do believe we are on to Jaye Ray, who is representing the Livestock Conservancy in our new register.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. That was very nice. Yes, my name is Jaye Ray. I'm the Programs Assistant and Registrar for the Livestock Conservancy. We are based here out of Pittsboro, North Carolina. Thank you for inviting me to join your meeting. I really appreciate this, as I think this is a very important thing for me to be able to show you and walk you through this new system that you all should have gotten your packets, your step-by-step guides and your information of how to log on. If you have not, please don't hesitate to send me an email separately and let me know that you have not received that, and I'll be glad to send that to you so you can jump online and get started. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you and we will get started. And I do ask if you can, if you have questions, if you can possibly hold those off to the end or put them in the chat to the side so I can get through this presentation and then we can answer questions at the end. Okay, I'm going to start off where you would start off would be your website, and there's multiple ways in here that they have set it up for you to be able to log on to the Grassroots system. I'm just going to use this particular one. Okay, this is what's called the landing page. This is where you're going to put your member ID and password. This is was in the packet to give you your member number or flock number and your password. And that's where you would put your information. Okay, this is your landing page. This is going to show you in different little areas. It's going to show you just a quick little view of your total animals, how many females, how many males. At the bottom of that is going to have your membership. It's going to have your membership types, you know, renewal dates, things like that. Moving to the middle, this is where your association can put any news coming up that you want your members to have a look at, like upcoming annual meetings or upcoming whatever it is that you want your members to know. Over to the side here, there's a help section as well. Each one of these describes what each one of these little icons is up at the top. So it's very straightforward. It tells you exactly what they are. And then here's some society details. Here's my telephone number here at the office and my email. If you need to, like I said, get in touch with me, don't hesitate to send me an email. That would be the quicker way to get a hold of me. Okay, so what I'm going to do from here, oh, also with this section here, if you click on that, it's going to be another video of Libby. She's also made a little video, just a generic video explaining Grassroots as well. So if you want to sometime take a look at that, you're welcome to do that. So I'm going to start with membership. So what you do is you click on manage. And here's all your personal details. This is all the information that you fill out. You've either filled it out in a paper form, if that's what you choose to do, or you go online and fill out the membership request form. This is the information that you've provided. If you scroll down to the bottom where it says data protection, this is important. This gives you a list of how you want your information to be seen. You can start off with include everything. So if someone wants to go in and have a look up a member, you can say include everything. They can see everything about your name, your address, phone number, things like that. Or you can change it to be very specific. You don't want this to show up, but you don't want your phone number or vice versa. Or you can exclude everything. And the way it comes across is just a bunch of little X's. So you can protect your data is however you see fit. When it's first put in, it's typically started off with name, region, and prefix. So you can go into the system and request to update and change that, and I can do that for you once you request that. Okay, so I'm going to get back out of that. Now I'm going to go into view my animals. This is going to give you the more detail higher level detail of your animals. The gray animals are, well, it's supposed to be gray animals, male, white, female, but they've changed that up, it looks like. What you'll see is you'll have all these different headings across all of the, you can click on each one and you can sort it by that column heading. If you want to know, just females, you can do that. If you want to sort by registration number, you can do that. Let's see. What you're seeing here is just a small portion of all the specific data that pertains to that animal. If you want to see even deeper, you can click on that animal. I'm going to choose, let's see, 66. I've got one here that I was wanting to specifically show, this one. So here's a little bit more information. This is all the detailed information that you provide. The color, horns, the sire, the dam, date of birth, conception type, so on. This is where I was talking about. She has her information only showing as her name, and that's it, which is fine. You can also go to the pedigree. This is where you're going to get all of the information, all of the parentage information. And you can click on each one of these and dive deeper into each one of those as well. You can click on here to see if there's any offspring, and there's the offspring. And if you have any photos, any images, this can be done through the phone app. Okay. So that's just a high-level view of one of the particular animals, and that you can search on any of your animals. Okay. You can also, with this magnifying glass, you can search for anything in the database, anything for sale, for hire, or AI. You can search for an animal, and you can search for a member. We're going to start off with an animal search. And you do need to know the name or a partial name. You can choose over here on the left if you want to just search all females, all males, alive, or if you click on all, you'll see all the ones that are marked as deceased, registered, listed. You can go by year of birth, by color. You can just search, make this very searchable however you need it to be searched. And when I click on that, it's going to give me every animal that started with EBNE. EN. Okay. And again, you can click on the individual animal and get all their data and have a look and see who the owners are and their pedigree and so on and so on. Okay, I'm going to go back up to the magnifying glass, and now I'm going to search for member. And it's the same, it's gonna, you can sort by regions. If you know what regions they're in, you can just click on that. So you don't have to search the whole database. If you know specific information, you can click on that and search through that. There's Crystal. You can click on that particularly, and it's going to take you to a nifty little Google map that shows you where she is on the map. And you can use this for if you were wanting to buy some animals from Crystal. This will tell you how close she is to you, or how far you're willing to go to this person to then purchase their animal. And you can, just like Google Maps, you can zoom in, zoom out. And then here's all of her information that you want to, and here's her list of animals. Okay. Now, also at the top right, you'll see these 3 orange lines. This is where you have all of your options to do your requests online. You can birth notify, you can register, transfer, you can request castrates, death, service certificates, other fees, flag animals for sale, hire, AI, and checkmate. I do want to start with, we are going to go through a couple of examples. We're going to start with a birth notify. And birth notify, I do understand this is a new concept and a new option for your association. I feel that and the board felt that it's a very important option. It's one that has no transaction fees. There's no cost for this particular request. And we feel it's important to, when your animals are born, to go ahead and request them to be birth notified. This gives you the opportunity to capture everything about the animal as it's right after it's been born, and it helps you keep track of that so you don't lose information, because you are very busy people. You have a lot of things going on. You may forget to put this in, and then you try to go back later and you might not have written it down, and so that data is lost. So that by doing this up front, it captures all of that information, and you don't have to register them at that moment. This is just trying to capture the data, because it's very important to count all of the animals. If you don't put them in, then they can't be counted. It also helps with the ewes production records. It helps you keep up with that, how many, which ewes are being used for, and how many siblings, and all of that. So it's a very useful, we find it's a very useful tool. And plus it's no cost. So that's even better, we find. So I'm going to walk you through actually doing a birth notify with some information one of the members provided, and I'm going to try to go through this quickly. Again, you just go to the 3 little orange lines and you go into births. Doesn't usually take this long. I think there's just a bit of traffic going on. Okay. So I'm going to use my information that was given. Date of birth was the 9th. And you've got different options here. Natural. Birthing ease. No assistant. This is where you can put whatever notes you would like. You don't have to. It's not a required field, but if you would like to have some notes there, that's fine. You would then go in and select a male. This case, it was this one. Female. I'm going to search by the name. This one. Number born. There were 2. Number to log is going to be 1. The member is requesting only to log at this time 1 of the 2. That's why there's a difference. I've got to move my screen here. Okay, then next. Then you select gender, tag number. If you have an alternate tag number, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine also. The prefix is automatically going to be populated here for you, so you don't need to worry about adding that. It's going to be there automatically. In this case, the name is not provided. It was said to leave blank for now, and that's okay. Got color, white or color, horns, hold, 8 pounds. And I'm going to click add to list. Okay. Oh, sorry. And over here, registration type, notify, meaning birth notify. There's $0 cost. Now add to list. It said to add to list in case you have like several that you wanted to do, then you can just add another and just keep going down the list if you have several to do. If not, looks like this one's ready to go. So you click on next. You click on the society rules and bylaws, and then submit. Now, what happens then is when you do this online, you're going to receive an email, an instant email that's going to tell you from Grassroots, it's going to tell you what you've just requested. Some of what I call the receipts is going to have a little more data or information than the rest, but it is kind of like your receipt to say, this is what I requested. Whenever you request anything of birth notifying or registration or transfers, when you hit submit, it's not going to be an automatic, this is taken care of. This goes into what I call a pending. It's pending. So I then get a notification in my email to let me know that I have something to process. So then I go online, I download the requests, and then I'll work and process through the requests. When I complete those, I then upload it back online, and then I'll let you know I've completed the request. And then you will see if you've requested to birth notify or to register, you will now see those animals in your list. If you have requested to transfer, they now are not going to be on your list, and they're going to be going to the owner that you specified need to be transferred to. So I hope that makes sense, that even though you clicked on submit and you did get a receipt email, it's going to be sitting there pending until I can then download it and process it. That time frame can take anywhere from 7 to 14 business days, but I will say I do work very hard to get that taken care of before that end of that time. Now, sometimes there's going to be, holidays or, sick days or vacation days, but I do try very hard to get those processed before that window of opportunity is closed. Okay, I do want to go back to animals to show you what it looks like, the difference in birth notifying and registering. Now, the one I just did is not going to show up, but this is one that has been done previously. This is what's going to show you the difference of birth notify and register. It's going to have a BN before the registration number. That's to show you the difference into one that has already been fully registered. If you look over here to the registration status, it says notified. It does not say registered, it just says notified. So I just wanted to point that out in case you were concerned that, well, how do I find the differences? That's what the difference is. Okay. Now, if she wants to register, then you can go up here again, register, previously notified, and you have a couple of different options here. You can register previously notified, or if you have sold the animal or you're going to sell the animal and you know who it's going to be going to the new owner, you can request to register and transfer at the same time. So you have a few different options. This I'm just going to say register, and we're going to give it a name and say test. And this is where the fee is going to come in. This is where it's going to be the $8 fee. It automatically puts it there. This button, if you already know who to transfer it to, this is where you could also add the new owner's name as well. Now I'm going to click next. Now I'm not going to go any farther, because if I go any farther, it's going to charge her for this registration, and this is just a demonstration at this point. But I'm trying to just show you the gist of walking you through each of the screens. So I'm gonna back out of that one as if I didn't do that one. But it's the same. It's the same. Every request that you do, you're going to get a receipt, email receipt, and I'm going to get a notification that I have something that I need to process. So as long as you complete your steps, as long as you hit the submit button, then those things will happen. If you start going through this and you have questions or you have problems and you just back out of it, it's not complete. So sometimes it can sit there and hold it in your shopping cart up here. It can sit there and hold it for you to go back to it, or sometimes you'll lose it and have to start over. But as long as when you hit that submit button, then it tells you, okay, you've requested this, and it tells me I have an action to process. Okay. You can also go through here if there's, you know, the person that you want to transfer to. Here's another way to go in and request the transfer to someone else. Transfer to unknown. That's something that the board and members have said that you could possibly have some animals that long time ago got sold, and then the new owners for whatever reason didn't request a transfer, or it's been so many years you just don't know where those animals are, but you still want to capture that data. You still need to keep that for the records. You can request a transfer to unknown, and a specific number was created. A member number was created for this reason, to get them off of your list, because you know you don't have them anymore. But it doesn't take away the animal altogether. The animals are still in the database. They're just put somewhere to the side. So there's always in the database, and there's always able to track them. Like I said, you can request, next you can go in and with deaths, and you select which ones, and you can give more details about why the death, if you sold it to market, or if it just died, or whatever reason. It's the same kind of thing. You just keep going through each of the screens and keep hitting next until you submit. I think that's probably, do you think, Lori and Crystal, do you think they would want to see anything else, or do you think that would be?
Yeah, I've had someone ask about the checkmate feature. Could you show them how you do that?
Mm-hmm. I will say the checkmate, I was told by the Grassroots team that it's not going to be 100%. It's something, because they can't guarantee down to the nth degree number, because not every animal is going to have all of the 4 generations of pedigree. So they can't use those numbers. Don't use the numbers as 100%. This is what it is scientifically going to be. It's just to give you a gist of what to look for. So just understand that. And it says over here, if you need the full kinship analysis, to let us know, and we can run that specific, more detailed numbers to make sure it is as closest to those numbers as possible. So you can search for a male, or you can search for any of the males in the database, or any of your females. So let's see what we can get with this. Okay. That. Let's try this one. It's not wanting to work for me. Of course. It usually does. So I'm not, there we go. I think I'm just not patient.
You want me to give you some that I know would be related?
Oh, here's female. This is Lori's list. So Lori, do you have a name I can search with?
If you use that one right there, SR 2116. Whoops, now we're on male. So for the male, let's use 0517R, SR 0517R. Yeah. Is it find him? Huh.
SR. Oh, minimum of 3 characters. Okay, SR. Let's just go with SR and see what we get. This one?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Okay. That's the male and that's the female, and it's thinking.
Yeah, so all the ones that are shaded, you can tell, like, if they're both red, then those two are related, and if they're the same animal.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it has that, yes, it has the color coding here to the left. And every screen, I failed to mention this, every screen to the left, it has instructions or explanations of what you're seeing.
So the red ones indicate that the relationship starts with the parental generation with the sire or the dam. The yellow indicates that the inbreeding or that the shared relation starts in the second generation or the grandsire, granddam. And then green, I think this indicates that there's actually another one further back there. In other words, in the great-grandparents, but there's also a great-great-grand that's related. You just don't see it on the screen.
Right.
Where you see the green with no partner.
So that's the checkmate. It's just for a quick visual look. And like I said, if you really need a more specific analysis, just let us know and we can pull that.
Okay, we had one other thing that I think we could demonstrate, and that is going back to the member search.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of putting in anything in the search box, just click a region. And then doesn't it, I thought it would,
You'll see the states right there.
yeah. And then does it not show a list? I can't remember. I thought it did.
A list of the states shows up and you can unclick the ones you don't want.
But you have to put in part of their name. Is that right?
No, I believe it pops up all of the
Yeah.
unless there are too many and it can't, it can't put it on the screen, then it'll tell you there are too many.
You can, if you have certain information up front, you can put that in that little search bar. If you don't, that's when you can go over to the sites here and say, well, I don't know, just give me all the regions and let's see what I get.
Yeah.
If you
And I'd like to point out that there's very little contact information for each member that shows up on the screen. And that's because your data protection level is still set at only name, region, and prefix. So if you want your contact information to show up here, you have to go and change that. And I want to point out, I'm really sorry. I thought we'd done that, but the change still showed us as only showing our name, our region and our prefix. Whereas, you know, I'm happy to have my email and a phone number out there so that folks can contact us.
Yeah, so if you're not getting calls, this might be one of the reasons why. You got to make sure that you have at least one way for people to contact you. Okay. If anyone has any questions, I've already gone through what was in the chat. So if anybody has any other questions, you can unmute yourself and just kind of go for it.
If you can open up an animal for me, Jay, just any one of the animals there. I just want to show that if you click on the sire or the dam, I believe it takes you back into their history as well.
Yes.
So that there's quite a bit of data on the pedigree side going all the way back. So this shows you more about that animal there. And then if you click on pedigree, I'm not sure how this will work from the sire.
Yep.
Now, if you click on one of the last, you know, the far right ancestors, I believe it keeps going and shows you the ancestry, you know, well, it only shows that animal, but then you can look at that pedigree. So if you're really looking to know, you can see a pedigree, you know, right back to the original imported animals.
And I will say that the online, this is what I call the online version of the database. The database itself is in Office. And the online system here is a way for you as members to go in and have a look at your animals quickly, and to make your requests of what you want to do, if you want to register, birth notify, transfer. But if there's anything that you don't see, it doesn't mean that it's not in the database. This is just a higher level of information that the online system is letting you see, is for you to be able to work with. But we have a lot more detailed information about all the animals in the database itself.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? You're welcome to speak up.
And let me show you my information again.
It's going to be on the last slide, Jay.
Okay. All right. I just want everybody to know, you know, please don't, no question is a dumb question. No issue is a dumb issue. I'm here to help you. I'm here to do what your requests are. I'm here for you. Just don't feel free to reach out and I will walk you through it. If I have to walk through step by step on the phone, on the computer and walk through it with you, I'm glad to do that too.
Jay, we have one more question that you could show them.
Okay.
If you can go to one of those birth notified animals. Okay, we want to show that you can put that one for sale. So I guess you have to go through list animals for sale and then search for that one. So we need to remember that's BN0003. Because we have someone asking if you can list animals that aren't registered yet.
I think we completed the registration, at least, you know, in terms of submitting the request for that BN003, but that BN003 was not registered until we did that just now. He could have, I believe, have been listed for sale as a notified animal, birth notified, but not registered.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to have her show them how to do.
But I think he's been registered now. That was part of what we did.
Actually, no, I backed out of it before I went any farther because I didn't want it to take it out of birth notified to register because it was just for a test or for an example. It's looking like the birth notify is not on the list. Let me unclick that. is not on this list to request AI or sale.
Oh, I thought we could. We'll have to find out for sure on that because I thought that we could. So we'll have to check.
So there's been another question there about AI for St. Croix. There was a section on the registry there for AI. I do know that Utah State long time ago did some AI stuff. So I'm assuming that could show up in the registry as they had been AI'd. And I've known of a few other folks that played around with it, but nothing official. So it's not something you'll probably see on a regular basis currently. But if you go back and follow to the USU imports and some of the AI stuff that they did in the original formation, then you could see that.
And it is allowable. I don't know if that was what the question was asking, because yes, it is. And it's one of the options that you can select for how they were conceived, AR or embryo transfer. Okay.
Any more questions? And please let me know if you have not received your online information. I'll be glad to get that to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to stop your sharing and show our closing screen.
All right, guys. Well, there's no other questions for Miss Jaye. We thank you for showing us and walking us through all that. That was very educational, and we thank you a lot for it.
Thank you for having me.
If there's no other questions, then we'll thank everybody for coming and say our goodbyes.
Surely somebody has some questions about like the genetic study or something.
And one more time, I'd like to encourage everybody to go into Grassroots and update your data protection settings so that you can be found on the, I'm sorry, on Grassroots there on the member information and by region, if you should search there. So.
And we
The meeting for the genetic study, we've had a question come in on the chat board there. We're working with Dr. Murdoch and Dr. Spanenberg, and we're looking at sometime just prior, I'm sorry, in February for an initial video meeting with them. But the date hasn't been set quite yet. Okay.
All right, we got some questions coming in now.
Everybody's too shy to talk.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it's easier for them to type it because then they just start over talking each other. So we have a concern about there not being too many flocks in their region. So I don't know what region you're in or what state or any of that stuff, but it could just be that we need to do some advocating to get some more registered flocks in your area.
Okay. She's saying she's in Northern California, and I'm just over the border in Klamath Falls. So that's one. I know that there are a few flocks that are in California and just starting up. So there might be more coming. If you don't see flocks, I see that as a grand opportunity to be marketing the sheep and starting those flocks there. So that's just an idea there. And there's a question there about the genetics. Does that mean that Barbados is intermediate between St. Croix and Dorper? Absolutely no. That is not what that means. The groupings don't show I'm not a geneticist, so I fumble a little bit with trying to explain. Those dots just link, they group the breeds. If they're really close, there is some sharing of genetics, but it doesn't indicate relationship, as you're saying, kind of intermediate stage, that Barbados somehow is connected to the Dorper. As I understand it, the Dorper is a cross between a wool breed and an East African breed. I don't know the names of those. So, right, there we go. So that was for a gentleman who doesn't have audio. So
Yeah,
that
so
he
I
could
typed
answer.
I typed the Jason Notes version in for him.
Yep, yep. I think he can hear, but not, you know, not reply to us. So, okay. Perfect. I see he can hear there. Let's see. Amy Wheeler is in Oregon also, and she's telling us that she'll have lambs available. Make sure, Amy, that your information is the data protection is releasing all your contact information that you choose to release there. So, okay. All right.
I know, I can't remember. I don't know if you go by Preston or David. So anyway, I know I've noted your concerns about the regions. We'll take a look at those. We had just selected a map and went, yes, that's what we'll use to just get something set up so we can review those and make sure that they make more sense to folks. That's absolutely not a problem. We'll
And those regions were even set so long ago, even before my time.
So
I'm sure there needs to be some updating on it.
And I want to point out also that not only members can get into that portion of Grassroots, that if non-members go, they can log in as a guest. And what they're seeing is sheep for sale. And I believe they're able to search for members by region or state, so that we're not, you know, we're not within, it's not only sales within members, it's also for non-members looking for sheep.
Yeah, I actually tested that out while we were doing that, and it came up. I logged in as a guest, and it just came up like I was looking by region and then state for whatever, just like you were showing.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have someone looking, that's a resource for them.
yeah, I know there's quite a list of sheep for sale on there now, so people are using it. Well, the last thing I want to say is we really need involvement from our members. As you saw, we're a couple of directors down. We have elections coming up soon at the end of 2024. We have some committee things going on. Please, we would love to have your involvement. If you want to write an article or submit a really awesome photo for us, anything, we welcome member involvement. So,
you know, I'll be there.
It's a contacting any board member is one way to start. If you are interested in participating in any fashion, that's, you know, that's your entry point right there. So then we'd be happy to have you.
All right. Well,
okay. So this is a comment on the chat saying that in the past, this person has sold 50% of their animals via the website. I assume you mean the St. Croix Hair Sheep Breeders website, not your own website. And we hope that you will get, that will build as people get used to going to Grassroots. There is a link on the website that, Crystal, what does it say? Looking for sheep?
yes, something like that. Yeah.
And then it leads you right to Grassroots. And as I said, guests can log in too. You do not have to be a member in order to log in and look at sheep that are for sale or to search for breeders by region. But there's no way to contact you unless you update your data protection. So they can see who you are, but they don't know where you are specifically or how to contact you. So we believe that that will be a successful sale method also.
Yeah, we had considered making everyone's information available right off the rip, but we thought that was a little maybe a dangerous way to go because some people don't want their information out there. So better to protect everyone's privacy and have it be a little wonky at first, and as people get in there and start dinking around in the system. So
yeah, the link on the website says Find St. Croix. It's on the banner on the top. And I believe it's accessible when you go to other pages as well. So it just takes people a little while to figure out how to do that. I think that might be it on the questions. Are there any more?
I was just stalling a second to see.
Yeah.
Well, and if somebody thinks of a question later, you can always call, text, email, get a hold of us.
yeah,
We've got all of our contact information. Hope you can, in the future, that you can list animals before they're registered. So I believe that was one of the things that she went through there, was that you don't have to register them, you just list them on your pedigree. I mean, it has to be a purebred, but you can list that on there, and then you can tag it for sale.
Right.
we did.
So you don't necessarily have to register it for it to show as for sale under your
Actually, now we're not sure. We have to confirm that.
Oh, gotcha.
That once, yeah, I believe, but I'm not sure, that they can be birth notified, which means they have to have purebred parents, but the animal itself does not have to be registered to be put, to be listed as for sale. Although, as they said, we are checking on that to be sure.
Then I apologize. I hadn't heard that we had to check on it. Last I'd heard it was doable. So check back with us and we'll have more information for you later on that one. Well, if there's no more thoughts, comments, or snide remarks, then well, hang on. Okay, that's a comment. All right, then I'd say we'll call this meeting adjourned.
All right.
Thanks for coming, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.